أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو عالم الغيب والشهادة هو الرحمن الرحيم هو الله الذي لا إله إلا هو الملك القدوس السلام المؤمن المهيمن العزيز المهيمن العزيز الجبار المتكبر سبحان الله عما يشركون.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, and welcome to this special celebration marking 30 years of Humanity First. Today we reflect on a journey that began with humble beginnings in the midst of war-torn Bosnia. Not in a boardroom, but in the field, where a few volunteers stepped forward with courage, sincerity and the desire to serve. Guided by the vision of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV, may Allah have mercy on him, Humanity First was born. A mission to uplift lives, a promise to serve mankind wherever the need may be. Let's take a moment to revisit those very early days.
Welcome to Humanity First, where compassion meets action, driven by a vision that started in 1992. A charity that transcends all boundaries, serving based on need, devoid of vested interests. From this vision, Humanity First was born. In 1995, during the Balkan crisis, we took our first steps, delivering vital supplies to those affected. Today, we've grown into a global force, responding to crises and engaging in projects across 60 countries. Our journey has been guided by trust and honesty. Our commitment to serve was stronger than ever, reaching vulnerable communities in remarkable ways. From supporting livelihoods and disaster relief, to ensuring food security and promoting education, we're leaving an impact. Our teams of dedicated professionals work tirelessly, ensuring that every donation reaches its fullest potential. Empowered by the vision of serving humanity, we're reaching far and wide, touching lives and making a difference. Humanity First, a journey from humble beginnings to a global impact. Join us in this ongoing mission to transform lives and serve humanity.
What you've just seen is more than just a memory. It's the founding of everything Humanity First stands for. It wasn't just about delivering aid. It was about restoring dignity. It was about reaching people in their moment of need with compassion, respect and love. And all of it was inspired by the blessed guidance of Khilafat. From Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV, who founded Humanity First, to the continued guidance of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasrihil Aziz today. This is a mission built on service, sacrifice and sincerity. We don't just respond to crises, we help rebuild lives. We don't just send food or medicine, we bring hope. Over 30 years, we've grown in reach, in capability and in resolve, but our hearts remain the same. Where there is need, there must be hope. And where there is hope, Humanity First, inshallah, will be there. Let's now hear a short message from the founder of Humanity First.
तमाम बड़े बड़े मुल्कों में जमात अहमदिया को ये जायजा लेना चाहिए कि जिस तरह रेड क्रॉस वगैरह इंटरनेशनल सोसाइटीज हैं, उस तरह अगर मजहबी सोसाइटियां भी एक बैनुल अक़वामी हैसियत से पेशानी और जानी जाएं और उनका एक मकाम कायम हो सकता हो, तो जमात अहमदिया को अब वक्त आ गया है कि अपनी आज़ाद सोसाइटी बनानी चाहिए। तो जमात अहमदिया के मर्जी के ताबे खिदमत करे और तक़वा और इंसाफ के साथ खिदमत करे और मजहब व मिल्लत और रंग व नस्ल के इम्तियाज के बगैर खिदमत करे और इस खिदमत में गैरों को भी शरीफ लोगों, शरीफ नफ्स गैरों को भी साथ शामिल करें। तो जायजा लेना चाहिए। जहां तक मेरा तासुर है, ईसाई अंजुमनों को इस बात की इजाजत दी है और बाकायदा रजिस्टर्ड हैं यूनाइटेड नेशंस के साथ। अगर ये मेरा तासुर दुरुस्त है तो जमात अहमदिया को पूरे जोर से अब कोशिश करके बैनुल अक़वामी खिदमत खल्क़ का इदारा कायम करना चाहिए और उस इदारे का दायरा कार तमाम बनी नौ इंसान तक आम होगा और उसमें सिर्फ अहमदियों से चंदा नहीं लिया जाएगा, बल्कि शरीफ नफ्स दुनिया के किसी भी इंसान से जो इस इदारे में शामिल होकर खिदमत करना चाहता हो, उसको भी खिदमत का मौका दिया जाएगा। अल्लाह ताला इसकी तौफीक अता फरमाए।
Humanity first, serving mankind. Humanity first, we live to serve.
To reflect on our journey so far and how far we've come, we're honoured to hear from the chairman of Humanity First International, someone who has guided this organisation with great wisdom.
As Europe faced its worst humanitarian crisis since the World War II, with the Balkan conflict, as we call it, in response, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Tahir Ahmad declared 1993 as the Year of Humanity. And as we remember that Hazur has earlier directed in 1992 that a global organization should be established by our community, one that would serve all people regardless of race, religion, or nationality. Initially, our youth in UK led relief convoys to Bosnia, Croatia, Hungary, and Kosovo. And so many of our young people offered their services going to these dangerous countries as a war zone, knowing that the risks are huge. And I would say that with no prior NGO experience and no formal infrastructure and no limited resources, Humanity First was established, and only compassion and a strong belief in restoring human life and human dignity. By the grace of Allah, Humanity First is now registered in 66 countries. This extraordinary progress is the result of divine blessings of Allah, the guidance of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, and the tireless dedication of our volunteers. Over last 3 decades, Humanity First has, very briefly, I mentioned that over 284 disaster relief efforts in 111 countries, almost helping over 3 million people in crisis. We have established more than 100 schools and 56 vocational training centers under our Knowledge for Life program. And also under our healthcare program, we have built state-of-the-art hospitals like Nasser Hospital in Guatemala, and currently almost completion of Masroor Hospital in Ivory Coast. We have installed over 6,200 water pumps, bringing clean water to over 6 million people, and expanded impactful programs in food security, healthcare, orphan care, and community support. And this way, alhamdulillah, Humanity First has now reached out to over 17 million people across the globe.
Jazakumullah to Chairman Saab for those reflections. It's incredible to think how far we've come from a war-torn zone in Bosnia to a movement reaching over 60 countries. But that story didn't just unfold overseas, it was reignited right here in the United Kingdom. Under the direct guidance of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, ayyadahullahu ta'ala, bin Nasrihil Aziz, Humanity First UK was launched in 2018. And in just a few years, it has grown into a powerful engine of service, answering hunger, supporting disaster response, uplifting education, and delivering aid in moments that mattered the most. Let's take a look at that chapter.
Hi everyone, here is the latest update on food situation here in Gaza. It has been 60 days since the blockade commenced. All ways to bring food into Gaza have been blocked since March 2. People are starving, all shops are empty. I've just missed my breakfast today to catch up my colleagues trying to get some food from the local shops here. Our brothers here. كيف الحال؟ على العافية شباب، على العافية مجد. الله يعافيك. حياك الله يا اخوي، الله يبارك فيك، صباح النور. حياك الله. Here are our brothers to follow up water tracking project to deliver clean water, drinking water to people in North Gaza. على العافية اخوي ابو ادم، حياك الله. بدنا محل ببيع فلافل، ببيع بسكوت في المنطقة هذه. صعب جدا تلاقي، يعني الأوضاع صعبة. لو طلعنا بالشحن حاولنا نشوف. حاول. يلا بدي اطلع. قصدي يعني But what ordinary people do in these hard circumstances are trying and keep trying. Yesterday I visited one of my close relatives. I got in tears once I tasted her food. He grinded pasta and mixed it with lentils to make stones-alike pieces of bread. I couldn't believe, I couldn't imagine how these things are gonna be happened. It's a famine. It's a serious famine. People, elderly, children are malnutrition. We can say there are 2.5 million of people in Gaza are at a brink of hunger.
As we mark the 30 years of Humanity First, it's important to take a moment to reflect on the growth that's happened right here in the United Kingdom. In 2018, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, ayyadahullahu ta'ala, bin Nasrihil Aziz, restructured Humanity First, and Humanity First UK was launched. What followed was remarkable. I'm honoured to be joined by Aziz Hafiz Sahib, who is the chairman of Humanity First UK. Aziz Hafiz Sahib, Hazrat Khalifatul Masih V, ayyadahullah ta'ala, bin Nasrihil Aziz, launched Humanity First UK. Through that launch, what kind of shift took place in the direction of Humanity First?
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you for having me on. I think that shift was a global shift. Humanity First as an entity since 1995 had matured to such an extent with branches across the world that a time had come where it was important to have a central governance body, which is why there was a split of creating Humanity First International to oversee all the branches, and then the work that existed to create it under a new umbrella of Humanity First UK. So that restructure, similar to major organisations such as Save the Children, actually has springboarded Humanity First across the world. And then from a UK perspective, given us the responsibility of supporting various countries in West Africa, East Africa, and the Middle East, as well as here in the UK. So yes, it was a major springboard also for our work here in the United Kingdom.
Sticking with the United Kingdom, one of the most visible changes was the implementation of food banks throughout the UK. Tell us a little bit more about that.
I think many people have heard the adage, charity begins at home. And despite living in a first world country, sadly, there are huge societal issues, huge issues of food security. And this was a challenge that Humanity First rose to try to provide for those less well off. And food security has been a major issue. There's more than 2,000 food banks in the UK. So Humanity First UK established its first food bank in Mirfield in West Yorkshire, then moved on to the West Midlands, and then into Wigan as well. This really ignited a lot of passion amongst our volunteers, both within the Ahmadiyya community and outside. And now, 5 years on, we can see the fruit of that, reaching hundreds and hundreds of families every month across the UK.
Now, most of our viewers will remember COVID as a very difficult time that we all experienced. What did Humanity First UK do during that time?
I think COVID, as you say, was a unique challenge, and people had to reinvent themselves. And likewise, as an NGO, Humanity First had to see how we can help the nation. One of the major issues was there was a lot of psychological stresses on people, a lot of anxiety. So we started a helpline, a psychosocial helpline that helped people across all walks of life navigate the new environment that we were all facing, the environment of lockdown, the anxieties that revealed. Also, the helpline helped people access signpost to sources and resources that were helping them. So this was one of the key mainstays. And then personal protective equipment. You know the challenges in sourcing that. We did a lot of work trying to provide PPE across the UK to the health sector as well, to hospitals and clinics. So these were two real main areas where Humanity First UK particularly sort of grabbed the bull by the horns, particularly in COVID.
And lastly, Aziz Sab, in terms of disaster response, as time unfolds, new events take place, how has Humanity First UK helped in such disasters?
I think we have developed over the last 30 years and then taken things on to a further level. Unfortunately, disasters are only increasing. The earthquake in Turkey, in Syria, in Morocco, and then the war in Gaza. This has all really pushed Humanity First to its limits in terms of our efforts. So we served with Germany, providing disaster relief, providing medical care in Turkey, also in Syria, and then in Gaza, as we will see, our local team in the West Bank and in Gaza has really risen to the challenge, and Humanity First UK has done its utmost to support them financially, logistically, to be able to serve the hundreds of thousands that they have done.
Aziz Sab, tell us a bit more about your volunteer basis here in the UK. How many volunteers do you have, and are they allocated different countries? What's the setup?
So one of our key unique selling features in Humanity First are two things, is our grassroots driven organisation. So grassroots volunteers, whether they're in the UK or whether they're in our countries across the world. The organisation is led by grassroots members, and it also delivers using our grassroots members. And the other bit is our level of agility, both at an organisational level and at a ground level, being able to be agile and respond particularly to disasters where quick decision making is needed, quick response is needed on the ground. So with our hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, not only in the UK, across the world, being agile and being responsive, I think this has really helped Humanity First serve in disasters such as this.
Many people are watching their screens intently over the situation in Gaza. Can you tell us a little bit more in terms of the situation there, and what has HF UK been able to achieve over there?
I think we're all aware of the tens of thousands of lost lives, men, women and children in Gaza. We're aware of the issues of food, water, sanitation. Only by God's grace and the efforts of all our volunteers, we've been able to provide food for hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people. We've been able to provide water trucking on a daily basis for the last 18 months, which continues both in the north and in the south of Gaza. At the same time, we've been able to educate young families how to protect their children from the risks of unexploded bombs. At the same time, we're providing education in temporary learning spaces, and you'll hear of that from our team on the ground later on. Because majority of schools have been destroyed, We're able to provide education in makeshift shelters just to ensure that the children don't lose out. If you can imagine 18 months of no school, it has a huge impact on the well-being of youngsters. So these are just a glimpse of some of the services that have been done and are ongoing as we speak.
Exactly, as you said, we can really see that Humanity First isn't just helping people, it's actually maturing and growing as an organisation itself. And from food security to disaster relief, education to helping people within their own homes, the UK chapter is really doing some good work for the surface of humanity. But this story isn't just about leadership, it's also about the people on the ground. And we were talking about Gaza before. We will continue with that and look at the story that's been unfolding there.
Here is the latest update on food situation here in Gaza. It has been 60 days since the blockade commenced. All ways to bring food into Gaza have been blocked since March 2. People are starving, all shops are empty. I've just missed my breakfast today to catch up my colleagues trying to get some food from the local shops here. Our brothers here. كيف الحال؟ على العافية شباب، على العافية مجد. الله يعافيك. حياك الله يا اخوي، الله يبارك فيك، صباح النور. حياك الله. Here are our brothers to follow up water tracking project to deliver clean water, drinking water to people in North Gaza. على العافية اخوي ابو ادم، حياك الله. بدنا محل ببيع فلافل، ببيع بسكوت في المنطقة هذه. صعب جدا تلاقي، يعني الأوضاع صعبة. لو طلعنا بالشحن حاولنا نشوف. حاول. يلا بدنا نطلع. قصدي يعني But what ordinary people do in these hard circumstances are trying and keep trying. Yesterday I visited one of my close relatives. I got in tears once I tasted her food. He grinded pasta and mixed it with lentils to make stones-alike pieces of bread. I couldn't believe, I couldn't imagine how these things are gonna be happened. It's a famine. It's a serious famine. People, elderly, children are malnutrition. We can say there are 2.5 million of people in Gaza are at a brink of hunger.
Teams in Gaza continue to serve with courage and compassion. Let's come back to home now and to the UK, where our food banks are in Mirfield in Yorkshire.
Hello everyone, I'm Arif Ahmed and I'm here at the Humanity First Food Bank in Mirfield. This food bank opened up in June 2020, and in the last 4 years we've helped thousands of people in the local area. So this is a former shop, and when we took it over it was completely empty. We've got a waiting area for service users, and at the back of the shop is where we store the food. We've got the breakfast items here, and we've got some food parcels all ready to go out next week. We have a combination of things. Some food parcels get delivered, and some food parcels people will come and collect them as and when we need them.
How often do you come to the food bank?
Generally once a fortnight, maybe once a week, depending how I'm struggling.
Okay. And what does it provide for you? How is it beneficial?
It helps me get through.
Yeah.
From one pay to the next.
So we've seen that whether it's overseas or right here in the UK, our mission is the same, and that's to serve mankind. Let's now head over to the Gambia and visit one of our schools.
Hi, my name is Jara Dabo, a student of this noble Masroud Senior Secondary School, built by Humanity First. So Masroud is a school that empowers so many youths in this country to stand as independent citizens on their own. So I stand here offering to become a biochemist in the future in the Oxford University, studying my PhDs and becoming one of the first biochemists in this country. So I see Masroud as a school that offers diligence and responsible citizens. So I decided to come to this school in order to be motivated so that I can pursue my dreams in becoming a biochemist. So achieving those ambitions, as Masroud have excellent teachers that can be able to taught me in order for me to understand my field of areas and to become responsible. So teaching me is not only about educating me about the education system, but also teaching me to become responsible and to be an impact into the world at large. So serving as a biochemist future biochemist is one of the dreams I have so dear to me. So it's very dear to me. So I see Masroor as a school that can offer this dream because they have qualified teachers, and they have qualified teachers that can be able to help us in achieving all this. So Masroor is known for excellence. I believe that every individual out there should sponsor Masroor to become one of the best in this country. So thank you.
It's amazing hearing about people's dreams and seeing and praying that these dreams of these young people will once be fulfilled, because such education not only changes the person, but it also changes their generations. We now move over to Uganda, where we look at sustainable farming and how that is transforming lives there.
Amaina gange nze nabye hagira nsinzire kasambira okapere ndi mu kibiina ekya Humanity First kyantamu obugabirizi obw'obwongo obw'enkulankulana ey'obulimi obw'ebigogo. Awo mbebaziza okumpa obwongo kuba ennimiro eno ensingiire ku bye naakabonaku. Kati bwe mbiringirire ndibona nga ndifuna eisuubi ery'emberi eyo erya enkulankulana ey'eningiza. Nali nnima nga duuma, nalima emmere ey'okulya nga duuma n'ow'esente, aye abaire nga tangasa kufuna bugabirizi bwa sente. Mbaire nga nkozesa itaka einene aye nfuna nga ntono. Ndisuubira nti ebigogo bye nasimba 50 omwaka nsobolanga okufunanga buli kukikola enkoto 3 mu mwaka ago naaba ningizaamu esente edisobola okungabirira mu famire yange. Nebaza ekibiina ekya Humanity First okungaidinga okuntaamu amaani n'obusobozi bwona obw'okusobola okukola. Nebaza baseeka abantaamu n'ebirowoozo ebyo.
So we've seen that sometimes it's the simplest of tools that bring the biggest changes. Let's now go over to the Ukraine, a country that you are well aware is still in battle.
Humanity First took this village from hardship of water issue to the doorstep of everybody.
Humanity First. Bueno, hasta tal punto que bueno, establecimos una vinculación tan estrecha, de tantísima confianza, porque bueno, yo conozco muchas otras organizaciones a lo largo de mi vida y la verdad es que me sorprendió la dedicación, la forma de trabajar de Humanity First, la transparencia que tienen, cómo combinan, lo dije muchas veces, cómo combinan sus creencias, cómo combinan el rezar y el hacer. Es decir, rezar y actuar, que para mí es esencial. No entiendo una cosa sin la otra y muchas veces tengo vivido esa otra forma de actuar, que se queda en una cosa o en otra. Sin embargo, aquí se combina perfectamente ambas actitudes y para mí es algo, no puedo describir con palabras lo que eso supone.
Service has no borders and neither does humanity. We can now go back to the Gambia, where clean water is changing lives every single day.
Humanity First took this village from hardship of water issue to the doorstep of everybody. Humanity First, with them, we were able to have our gardens in our doorsteps. Women are no longer going out fetching water from village to village, and this is what was happening before. We normally have our lunches 4 o'clock p.m. to 5 o'clock due to water issue problem. Now we have our lunches from 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, latest 1:30. We have our lunches. Because of what? Humanity First in the area of water supply. So for that matter, laundry also, everything is clean. Animals are getting very beautiful. People are getting very clean and indeed very healthy. Based on what Humanity First is. So therefore, the whole community are very well proud and indeed very well thankful and grateful to Humanity First for that matter. And the community, no matter big it is, Humanity First aid water supply is serving the community 24 hours around the clock. We have water 24 hours around the clock. And the village population is ranging from 400 to 500 to 600 in population, excluding animals. And they are all having water continuous 24 hours a day, something very difficult, and for the very first time in the history of the village, indeed, in fact, in the whole of this area. Now we have even some villages. The villages we normally used to go and fetch water. Now some of them are even saying us that, how do you get these trucks? So therefore, based on the reasons, we thank Humanity First very well indeed. And indeed, we thank them and thank them for so many times. We thank them million times. The community is now, people are beautiful, people are handsome, people are clean and healthy. So Humanity First, bravo Humanity First, bravo Humanity First, bravo Humanity First.
Mashallah, it's that passion, that gratitude that drives Humanity First forward. And finally, a few words from someone who's seen our impact firsthand right here in the UK.
My name is Councillor Paul Blay. I'm the local councillor in Hindley, which is in the borough of Wigan. I first got involved with Humanity First when the local organiser, Mansour, contacted me to offer the services of Humanity First during the lockdown period.
What stood out to you about the work Humanity First was doing in lockdown?
I think the biggest thing that stood out for me was the compassion and the love they showed to the local people of Hindley, offering their services and running the kitchen for a number of months, cooking over 6,000 meals for the local people. It's important for organisations like Humanity First to step into the breach and help out wherever they can. Just a final message before I finish the interview is just to congratulate Humanity First on the 30 years they've given service to the people of the world, and I wish you the next 30 years all the best to you all.
What we've seen so far is just a glimpse of the impact Humanity First has made thanks to your support. But our journey is far from over. The world is changing and needs are evolving, and Humanity First is ready to meet them with innovation, compassion and sincerity. From education to disaster response, healthcare to sustainability, we're building the future one project at a time. We've launched schools, medical clinics and food programs across Africa, Asia, Europe and the Americas, and we're not stopping. Let's look at one example of the future we're building in the Ivory Coast.
देखो छाया नूर आज हर बंदा मसरूर आज देखो छाया नूर आज हर बंदा मसरूर आज बातिल बहुत ही दूर आज चानन कर जरूर आज देखो छाया नूर आज हर बंदा मसरूर दिल हमद तराने गांदा अज आपे नचदा गांदा
If you've just been moved by the scenes that you've just seen, join us, support us and stand with us. You can make a difference right now. What you can do is to visit hfuk.org/donate and donate today, because where there is need, there must be hope. As we reach the end of today's programme, it's hard not to feel both proud and deeply humbled. Proud of what Humanity First has achieved over these past 30 years, and humbled by the sacrifice, sincerity and service behind every project, every volunteer and every life that has been touched. I'm honoured to be joined again by Aziz Hafiz Sahib into the studios here in London. Aziz Sahib, looking at the last 3 decades of Humanity First, what moment stands out the most in your memory?
It's very hard to pick one moment, but what I would say is probably the biggest thing is the immense blessings, witnessing the blessings of God Almighty's grace on our humble efforts. When you know your abilities, you know your capacity, and you know your weaknesses, yet with prayers, with sincere effort, with the prayers and the guidance of His Holiness, when you see the results, I think that's what stands out. It stands out because it brings Humanity First out. People ask what's different between Humanity First and any other. There's lots of NGOs out there in the world. And I would say what stands out is that yes, Humanity First does food, water, education, disaster, like many, many other NGOs. What stands out is that, like everybody else, we put the effort, we put the energy in, but we're hugely, hugely blessed with the prayers of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih, that divine grace, and the results that are achieved are second to none. If you look at our healthcare projects, I'm not sure whether they've had a chance to show that, in Guatemala, the hospital in the Ivory Coast, the Masroor Center for Healthcare, due to open very soon. It's purely a miracle of God Almighty how a charitable organization can produce a hospital that is state of the art, a modern hospital, yet providing services for the poor and the needy. So I think these are the things that stand out for me. The way that God's grace, His mercy has actually made Humanity First flourish, not because of anything we have done, but is actually catapulted our humble efforts. That's what I would say is the key feature.
The way you mentioned the word humble really reminds me of those scenes inside the Mahmoud Hall in the London Mosque, when as young men we were literally packaging boxes onto these white vans that were going to go into a war zone. Absolutely. And for us that was quite an amazing thing at that time to be involved with our own very hands, to see and to witness this big organization now which is worldwide. What are your memories of those very early days?
I think like you, I remember those days as a humble volunteer. See, we've heard from Chairman Saab International describing those early days, but as a humble volunteer, at that time, probably we didn't appreciate that we were part of something very big. When you're packing that bag and you're putting the sellotape on after the sort of 100th box, you're feeling quite tired. But actually being part of history, being part of the vision of Hazrat Khalifatul Masih IV, that stepping stone, that foundation that he laid, and today, not only here we are sat in the UK, but in Germany, in the USA, in Canada, across the world, it really is truly, truly humbling. And I think, as Ahmed Saab has said, there is lots to do in the future. There is so much more that Humanity First can do and is doing, and I think with the blessings of God Almighty, we will see huge, huge progress in the coming decades.
And that passion and that zeal to put everything forward for the sake of humanity was literally done, in action by those young volunteers. You were one of those people who went into war-torn Bosnia. We were, horrified by the scenes on TVs at that time of how there was mass killing and shooting taking place. But our young men, with very little skill, with very little experience at all, went with these simple vans into Bosnia, which is now at peace. Tell us what you yourself witnessed there.
I think as a young volunteer, witnessing the challenges, witnessing those refugee communities with no food and no water and no supplies, that for me personally was quite an eye-opener. As a young student, age 18, 19, I believe at the time, it was something very, very new, something you'd see on TV screens. But at the same time, I think the training from the seniors that very graciously took me along under their sort of tutelage, I'd learnt a lot. I learnt what it means to be compassionate, but I also learnt what it means to have a calm, cool head when it comes to dealing with humanitarian crises. Many, many challenges, and I think we're very blessed to have leaders, and many of those leaders are currently serving in Humanity First. The guidance of those leaders, the way we worked, the way we provided aid for people, and nowadays there's lots of policies and procedures that as the humanitarian world has come into place, has matured at present. But in those early days, they probably they were probably not. But I think we were really privileged because our leaders were blessed with such wisdom, guiding us to what to do and the etiquettes and the ethics of how to deliver aid. So I personally learned loads, and I think today as a humanitarian I have benefited from what I saw and what I learned in those days.
You mentioned the word leadership. The unique point about Humanity First is the leadership and the guidance of Hazrat Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ayyadahullah Ta'ala bin Nasr al-Aziz. Can you share with us any personal example that you've witnessed how Hazur's guidance has been so instrumental in implementing change in the world?
I think there are so many examples. But if I can just share, in all disasters, his guidance is very clear that we should be serving with absolute justice. Absolute justice. There should be no vested interest. For example, where if a majority of our volunteers are from a Muslim background, that we should not be showing favoritism to one society or another. We should be absolutely clear that our distribution of our aid is 100% equitable across all societies. And I think that has really been the mainstay. The other thing I've learnt personally from Hazur Aqdas is the level of love and care and attention that he has for his volunteers. Particularly our team currently serving in Gaza. It's humbling the care and attention that he has given them, the love and affection that he has given that team, ensuring that everything possible is done to try to get food for them, try to get water for them, and no cost is spared. So I've really seen those two sides, that equitable distribution of humanitarian aid, and at the same time the deep love and affection and care for the volunteers in Humanity First.
I'm sure Allah has His own plan, and Hazur has a plan obviously for Humanity First and for the rest of the Jamaat. But as a humble worker of Humanity First, where do you see Humanity First in the next 30 years?
As a humble worker, I actually see Humanity First making huge strides without sounding arrogant. And I reiterate again, the divine grace and mercy that catapults Humanity First. I see Humanity First being a real global leader in humanitarianism, especially as you see the current climate where humanitarian funding is being slashed, sadly, by major leaders, major countries in the world. This is really changing the whole dynamic of humanitarianism. Humanity First, I think, is uniquely positioned because the way our structure works, the way our infrastructure works, and the way our volunteer base works, I think we're in a unique position to help fill the gaps that are emerging across the world. So I really see Humanity First reaching great heights in the coming years and decades.
Inshallah. Dr. Aziz Hafiz Sahib. We can see that what began with humble beginnings has become a legacy of love, sacrifice and service across 60 plus countries and countless communities. To every volunteer, every donor, every field team and every supporter, thank you. Thank you for your generosity, for your prayers, for your time. They are what has kept this mission alive. And let's pray that this continues and we continue this journey together, always putting humanity first. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.